Hello, my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. This video is kind of like a direct sequel to my previous video, so if you missed that video, I will link it in the cards. Basically, in the last video, I showed you all of my propagations, everything that was in my prop boxes. I cleaned those out and organized them. And now the second part to that is dealing with all the propagations and potting them up and putting them with the plants that they belong with. So hopefully I can deal with that today. I am somewhat limited on time, so at the moment I'm just gonna do as much as I possibly can with the time that I have. Let's go ahead and get started with whatever I can get done. And also, I'm so sorry if the lighting is awful. It suddenly became super overcast and I have like the overhead lighting on and it's just not as ideal. So these are all of the plants that I'm hopefully going to get to today. If I don't get to all of them, I mean, oh well, but I'm gonna do my best. We're gonna start with the plant that I think I'm most excited for, and that's my Hoya obovata. And I took these propagations a few videos ago. They're very rooted up, so I'm pretty sure they're ready to go in here with the main plant. Although I don't know realistically how much space is in this pot, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna get a sense. Okay, that is pretty well rooted in there. I mean, look at that big old chunk that came out. So I'm just trying to decide if I want to like size up the pot or just stick them in here and hope for the best. I might stick them in here and hope for the best because I feel like Hoya kind of like being a little bit more snug in their pots, and I don't want to risk, yeah. I am going to kind of take it apart though. I don't normally do this when I'm potting things together, but just because of the way that it is pretty compact. So let's start just with this guy. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just potting up my Hoya obovata propagations, sticking in the pot along with the main mother plant from which I propagated these. Thankfully this moss is pretty nice and fresh still. I'll just set it aside and boil it and reuse it later. Here's what that looks like. Pretty good. Go there. And this one I think has 2 propagations in there. I think my son would like more blueberries, so I'm going to have to go grab those momentarily. This plant rooted so well for me. And look, there's already like a new little growth point. I don't know how well you can see that in this lighting, but like, can you see that? Maybe? There's a new growth point already, which is very fun. All right, I'm gonna get in blueberries. And voila. So now the trick is getting all of them together. I might add some soil first though. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna go water this in real quick, but I'm so pleased with the outcome. Hang on. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm so happy. Look at that. It looks even better than I expected it to be. We are on our way to the Hoya obovata of my dreams. That's such a nice full pot. Okay, that's perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping for. Okay, here's the next one that I'm pretty excited for. This is my Monstera Peru. It's a little bit funky right now. I mean, some of it's nice, but like this top part is normally pinned onto the wall. But I want to add a few propagations to the bottom to make it more full in general rather than just one vine. So let's get started with that. I have 2 propagations here. One of them is in like a mixture of perlite and moss, and it's a little bit icky. It, you know, it has roots. Hopefully they're not totally rotted, but like it rooted, okay? Which is miraculous in my opinion, because I have lost many propagations of Monstera Peru. And this, oh my goodness, look at how well this rooted in the water. Dude, that's fantastic. I have 2 pieces of plant to add in. I'm sorry if this seems rushed, but like, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible. There's one here. Will be the second one. It has a longer petiole. I've got to bury. Make a spot for it. I potted this up pretty shallowly to begin with, like this plant, because it was a little bit small to be going in this size of pot, but I needed this size of pot originally in order to accommodate the moss pole because it has a really large base. And I'm not very fond of this moss pole anymore. It's one of those bendable kind that you buy, you know, pre-made or whatever. And I'm not really a fan anymore, but it was like my first moss pole that I got. I think that's as good as we're gonna get here. Okay, now I need to get plant Velcro. I suppose I could already use one of the pre-existing ones, but it's fine. And this one is not quite tall enough to attach yet, but it will be in due time, hopefully. I feel like that didn't make a huge difference, but like there's a little bit more going on at the bottom now. Okay, what do I want to do next? I think I want to do my philodendron dark lord, and I want to put it on a moss pole. First, I need to kind of construct the moss pole, which I've done many times on my channel. So maybe I'll link some videos or something where I've done it, because you know, for those of you who have been watching me for a while or have seen those videos, I don't want to like bore you. And for my Dark Lord, I have this top cut right here. And I also have these mid cuts in moss, but this one I don't think is really growing. So I will definitely use this. I think the first thing I'm going to do is add a little bit of soil, and I will also stick the pole in here, fill it a little bit again with some soil. Did you eat all of those blueberries? Okay, I literally just gave this boy a whole cup of blueberries and he ate them all in 5 minutes or less. Do you want more? Okay, so this one is like decently well rooted, but not like incredibly so. What? I don't have any more blueberries, baby. I gave you bananas. And this is looking pretty good. Look at that. So it looks like this one is rooted, but it does not have a growth point. So that makes me feel a little bit suspicious because this is a little bit mushy. And I don't know, maybe it will activate eventually. Thankfully this one has activated, so like that's a good sign. But like, I don't like that. Also, I don't know why I just removed all that moss because I'm just putting a bunch of moss in the moss pole anyway, so oh well. It's getting so dark and overcast. It's going to storm, I think. We also had like a few really nice days of weather, but now it's not nice like at all. It's steadily getting cold again, and I think the storm is kind of bringing that in, so it's a little bit sad. So I think that we had like kind of our last hurrah before like late fall and winter comes in and makes everyone cold. But it's okay. I'm grateful that we had what we had. So now I'm gonna add in moss. I really hope that this Philodendron Dark Lord grows in nicely and like actually does what I want it to do.
Oh, you want a marshmallow?
Yes. We'll see. I really hope that the moss pole is kind of the way to go and it gives it the right structure and moisture to help it out, but like, we'll have to see. I don't want to get my hopes up too much because I don't want to get disappointed again. But maybe this will be the way to go. This is the one thing that I haven't really tried, is like this kind of moss pole that I've started using for other plants. So that's what I have right now. There's 3 separate plants in there technically. And I'm gonna put it in this terracotta pot. It's kind of like a cash post situation. Let me just take a peek at what's going on with this plant because I don't know what's happening. Okay, it's not rotted. It looks like it just hasn't put out like its auxiliary bud yet, or like its extra growth. Unless, oh, what? Oh, this is another cutting that I had in there, but like the leaf must have fallen off. But the auxiliary bud's happening, so it's kind of like a wet stick. Okay, I'll take it. So I'll let this keep on going. I don't think it's quite ready to pot up yet. And because I've already potted up my other Dark Lord, this will just be a different plant that I end up giving away or passing along in a trade or whatever. Oh, would you look at that? And oh, I still can't get over this. Okay, I still have so much to do, but I've run out of time for today. So I'm gonna put a pause on that and I'm gonna continue this video maybe tonight or like another time when I have enough time to sit down and like deal with the rest of what I'm looking at. I've run out of time right now, which is unfortunate, but like it is what it is. And I will see you, I guess, in a minute for you. Okay, we're back. And I have another chunk of time available. I think I'm gonna start right now with something pretty straightforward. It's just my Raphidophora tetrasperma, a couple of cuttings I'm gonna pot up for my sister-in-law. So, I mean, it's pretty basic. It's very well rooted, which is nice. That makes it easy. So let's get started. I'm just gonna put it into a little plastic pot or something. Let me see what other plants I have to do today. Yeah, I mean, this will probably be a good option. One or the other. We'll see, kind of depending on what it looks like. Let me pull out all of the roots and then I'm just gonna put all of my extra moss in here. And this moss I'll either use for the moss poles that I might make today, or, I mean, I'll just have to boil it to reuse it for propagating. At least I try to do that. I don't always do it, but I feel like that's technically best practice if you want to remove any potential bacteria, especially if there was some rotting involved. This is looking so nicely rooted. Oh my goodness. That looks great. I don't even know if I'm gonna really even remove all this moss. It's so like stuck in there. I'm sure it'll probably be fine. But I mean, I suppose I could do this pot. Yeah, so I feel like this one is gonna be a little bit too tight, probably. I feel like I haven't done a repotting video in like this specific angle in a while. So it's actually kind of fun. Because a lot of my repotting videos lately have been a little bit more top down, which is like totally fine, but it's a little bit nice to do something different. Hopefully my sister-in-law likes that. It's got 2 leaves, or at least growth points kind of starting already. I freaking love Raphidophora tetrasperma, guys. Okay, next. Okay, this is my variegated philodendron heteroecium. And I mean, it's fairly rooted in there. A little bit hard to tell because the roots are much more fine in comparison to the tetrasperma, but I think I'll pot it up in the same pot, but with soil. Hopefully, this plant will be like happy again and start really growing and taking off again. I was so bummed when this plant got knocked down, you guys. There was a whole thing, a whole incident. I don't really want to get too into it right now because I've already talked about it on this channel. I don't remember which video it was in though. Probably a favorites video, or honestly, I couldn't tell you. I basically had to kind of start this plant over. And I grew this plant from cuttings originally. So it was a little bit sad to have to start over, but like, stuff like that happens and it's okay. This might just be the extent of what I do. I've heard mixed opinions about how much moss you should remove. I feel like it's probably okay. If anything, it might be a little bit less shocking to the plant to retain some of the substrate that it's been rooting in and not bother them too much. I know some people are really concerned about rotting the roots accidentally because the moss retains a little bit more moisture, but like I feel like it's probably fine. If anything, in ambient humidity, I feel like moss dries out almost a little bit faster than soil does sometimes. All right, what do we think? I mean, it looks very similar to the way that it did before. It's just soil instead. Oh, let's not drop things. Of course, I'm gonna water all of these plants in. I'm gonna do something similar for this Florida Ghost. Eventually, I would really love to, oof, see there's a lot of roots, and I'm gonna hopefully not break them. They kind of snuck beyond the holes. Ah, shoot, I did break one root, but like, it's not too bad. I mean, this has a lot of roots in there, I will say. My goodness, that is a very well rooted. But anyway, I really love Florida Ghost, but the way that like my current Florida Ghost is, the state that it's in, I'm not quite as fond of. I've taken a lot of propagations, and this is like some of the propagations that I've taken off the plant, and it's looking like pretty good. But yeah, as I was saying, I eventually definitely want to kind of do like a little makeover for my philodendron Florida Ghost, and maybe even for some of my other plants. Actually, that's like a video that I have planned, is to do plant makeovers for like several plants, but then give updates along the way for each of those plants. So like make it a longer form video where it probably won't be out until, I don't know, December or January or something. I thought that might be fun. So Philodendron Florida Ghost is, I think, one of the candidates that I have in mind for that video. But let me know if you guys like that idea, because I want to film, or at least start filming it, maybe sometime this week or next week. And I'm really excited for it because there are a lot of plants that I have in my collection that I just really want to look nicer. Like, I love them. Just generally speaking, I really love them. But like, I want more for them than what they currently are. And I think they have a lot more potential to look nice, especially if I am intentional about it. I feel really torn about whether or not to put a Florida Ghost like on a moss pole or just kind of let it scramble the way that it does. Actually, let me know if you have a Philodendron Florida Ghost or a Florida Beauty or a Florida Green, any of those varieties. I mean, they all have like the same growth pattern. If you have one of these plants, let me know how you grow it. Do you just let it do its thing? Do you have a stake? Do you use a moss pole? Like, what do you do? Because I really can't decide the best way to grow it. Oh no. Ugh. I definitely snapped off this leaf. That sucks. It's definitely one of those plants that is just very prone to looking gangly if you're not careful. That's why I'm feeling the need to make it over. And I mean, look at this. Like, yeah, it's pretty, but it's also a little bit funky. And maybe it's just the way that I'm growing them. Like, maybe they're not getting enough light or something, so they're stretching out a little bit more rather than growing super nice and compact. But I feel like I rambled so much there. I also made a fresh batch of soil for this video, but I feel like it's gonna run low again and I'm gonna need to get more soil amendments. Okay, so that's what I've got. Not too shabby, right? Okay, next I think I want to make a couple of moss poles. First one is going to be for a Philodendron Pink Princess. This one in particular, I mean, I have several of these plants that are just propagations. But this one is quite pretty. I mean, not entirely, but it has at least like a few leaves that are pretty nice, so I will be hoping for the best. I feel like I recently potted this one up actually into soil, so I'll keep it pretty much in the same size, but I would like to add a moss pole, so I just would like it to be nice, please. I mean, there are 2 plants in here, and I'm probably gonna just reuse the vast majority of this soil because it's still pretty good. That rooted fairly nicely in there. I'm trying to situate it so I can like get both plants climbing up the pole, kinda. It's gonna be a little bit awkward, but we're gonna do our best. It already has a lot of aerial roots, so I'll just kind of stick them straight into the moss and let them take off, you know? It's like a little seatbelt to hold the plant in. It's gonna go through a bit of an awkward phase for sure. So I'm like planting the plant more like directly inside the pole, so the leaves are more in the pole. So they're not like facing outward like they would be if it had grown with the pole all along. But we're just gonna do our best. And I hope that the plant will kind of find its own way. There's definitely some like air pockets in here. I think this might be the best that we're gonna get for now. I really hope that it just kind of grows into the pole. Oh! So let's do that again. The moss usually stays in there pretty well. I think I might redo this. All right, hopefully that's a little bit better. I mean, it's not perfect, but like, I think that was the move. Hopefully it'll stay in there, you know? Okay. Gosh, that one took a while. Okay, let's pivot to a couple that are gonna be more straightforward. This is another pink princess, or a few pink princesses, but I'm just gonna throw them into a pot and give them away, I think. That's kind of my current plan. I actually have like several friends that are wanting plants, which I'm excited about. I put out on my like personal Instagram story, not my like Sprouts with Joy Instagram, but my personal Instagram. I was like,
hey, does anyone want free plants? Because I'm just in the mood to spread plant love.
being able to like give a plant away is really satisfying. And if that ignites a love for plants in somebody, I think that that's really worth it, you know? And actually, I've been giving away plants as Christmas presents a lot the last few years. Now I feel like the people that I give plants to might be getting a little bit sick of it. But every time that I think that they might be getting sick of it, they're like, no, keep bringing them on. So I'm like,
Okay.
it's like a little pink princess. I mean, it's not huge, but it's like, it's well rooted, it's growing. Ta-da! And then I'm gonna do another easy one. Syngonium confetti tricolor. And it is incredibly well rooted. So, oh, what do I want to put it in? Honestly, like this one is so well rooted. Oh my goodness. Syngonium roots are pretty tough. I feel like they're super beefy and thick. I'm not super worried about it, but like, I don't know. This is, on second thought, I don't know, this is probably gonna like grow out of this pot so quickly. Like, oh my word, there's so many roots. Okay, the volume of roots on this thing is quite intense. So actually, I think I am gonna pivot and do this one. And I think I'm gonna keep it being a fairly mossy mixture, like moss mixed with soil. So I feel like if I let my syngoniums dry out way too much, they lose leaves really easily. That was very quick and easy. We're good. I want to investigate. I'd like to investigate these two plants. I think I already investigated this one. This is the Dark Lord. Yeah, we're good. This is another philodendron Florida Ghost. Oh my gosh. Do you see how rooted that is? Hang on. Look at this. That is very well rooted, but no new growth point has started, and that makes me feel very suspicious that it is not well. or that it's like never gonna produce a growth point and will forever be this single leaf. Sometimes that happens. The node that you cut just didn't have an axillary bud or like another growth point that could happen. Oh! I was ripping apart this moss and look what I found. So that can happen, or like the axillary bud can like rot, but it looks like this does have an axillary bud, but it was so buried in the moss and could not escape that what on earth? You guys, hang on. I'm like ripping this thing apart because this, oh no! Oh, that's unfortunate. I was too rough. Hang on. I'm probably gonna toss this because I don't think anything's gonna come of it now. But look, this tangled mess, because silly me, buried the node too far down in the moss. And I kept it in the moss for a really long time. But look. That was trying to come from the axillary bud. It was trying to put out a new leaf, and it just like coiled around itself and couldn't find its way out of the moss. And then, of course, while I was unraveling the moss, it accidentally came off. So, I mean, in theory, there might be another axillary bud, like a backup one in here, but at this rate, that is just bizarre. But ladies and gentlemen, that is a lesson in paying attention to your propagations and not letting them get too crazy, because yeah, sometimes if you neglect them for too long, I guess that happens. So that's weird, but this is just a mess of roots, like just tangled in the moss. So I think I'm gonna pitch all of this. I'm not interested in trying again. This is a philodendron silver sword. I think I wanna try putting it on a moss pole. Maybe I could try putting it in here, but this might be too small. Let's see. Yes, I have another moss pole right here, ready to go. This is another propagation that's been going for ages upon ages upon ages. And look at all.
Oh, this is stinky. Ew.
Yeah, that moss smells just a little bit gross. I mean, I wonder if there's rot in here from a while back, but like it looks decently healthy. I think it's just like really old. Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So this is actually the butt cut of my silver sword that I chopped up a long time ago, and I just put the butt cut in my prep box. That's what this is, and that's why it's stinky, because it did in fact have root rot at one point, but I like chopped it all up and re-rooted it, and that's where it's at now. It's so fun. But yeah, I am not at all content with the state of my silver sword propagations that I like have all in one terracotta pot. It just, I don't know. I just don't like it. I want to have a silver sword that's a proper silver sword that I actually like. Because yeah, that pot of random cuttings is not doing it for me. And I'll keep it for the time being. But if this one takes off and does what I want and fulfills my silver sword dreams, then by all means, I will probably also give away or chop up or whatever the other silver sword pot that I have. I want the platonic version of all of my houseplants. If you're into the Enneagram at all, I'm a 9 wing 1, so maybe that is my wing 1 speaking. The urge to have everything look kind of perfect or be like the right way. I think I just have a tendency to feel that way, which I know in my head like is a little bit silly, and part of me also really appreciates plants that are super quirky and different, but they have to like fit within a narrow ideal that I have. And if they don't, or if they're like a little bit too weird or not growing the way that I want them to in my head when I first get them, you know, if they don't fulfill my expectations, I feel like it's just not what I feel like they ought to be, which I know. I'm aware that's a little bit silly. Just a little bit. Let me know if you feel the same way. If you're particular about the way that your plants grow or look. Because I know some people like just don't really care. They're just like, oh yeah, just I'm gonna let my plants do what they want to do. But I just will never be content, all of my plants, if I just let them grow the way that they wanted to grow. I must push them in a box of beauty because I'm a little bit particular about my aesthetic. Like certain things I don't care that much about. I'm just like, you know what, it's fine. Like these moss pools, for instance, I know they're not that cute, but they're very practical and they're well enough, and I've like gotten used to the look of them, and I think that they do what I want them to do very well in terms of making the plant itself look good. So like I'm more okay with that. And like in terms of pots, I would love to like have all my plants in perfect pots and have everything look perfect and lovely. It's just not gonna happen for a while because it's not in the budget, but it's something we are working toward. I think one of my goals in the new year will be to prioritize how the way that I display my plants and the kinds of pots that I'm getting for my plants and that sort of thing. But for now, I am trying to focus on growing my plants the way that I want them to grow. Now I need to add more moss. This moss has a bunch of roots in it from the Pink Princess. So I think I'm going to pitch the rest of that because that's just like, I'm not going to be able to disentangle that. So let's grab some fresh moss and use that instead for the rest of this. And I'm probably not going to fill up the pole all the way because if there isn't a plant to kind of hold the moss in place, it will just topple out like it was with the Pink Princess. I love fresh moss. It's like so fluffy and long. I've gotten some questions about which moss I specifically use, so maybe I will, if I remember, I will find a link for it. I just get it off of Amazon. It's like the New Zealand kind, and it's a little bit on the pricier side. I know it's a good product. I'm pretty sure it's like maybe marginally more sustainable than some of the other products out there. Maybe not, maybe that's in my imagination, but I feel like they list that on their product. I could be wrong, but ta-da! All right, well, we'll see if my silver sword actually looks nice because I want one that looks nice, please. I am actually really close to being done, you guys. I am down to my last 2 plants and they are absolute messes. This is a conglomeration. Like it is not, it's been here for forever. But I think I'm just gonna separate out the plants because there's some Cebu Blue in here and there's some Syndapsis in here. So I think I'm gonna separate out the Cebu Blue and maybe, ooh, I should pot it up with my normal Cebu Blue pothos. I think that's the move because I've been wanting to get that plant to be a little bit bushier anyways. This right here is the Cebu Blue portion. I think I grew this from a wet stick. This was just a bundle of wet sticks that I threw into perlite and sphagnum moss and hope for the best. And I haven't really paid attention to it since. So, all right, I'm gonna, this is such a mess. Okay. This is my Cebu Blue pothos, which, by the way, I feel like I never really talk about this plant. That's because it's fine, but it has never been super thriving for me. I'm just gonna like try to make a little wedge in the soil with a chopstick. Okay, correction. I couldn't find my chopstick, so I'm gonna make a wedge in the soil with a Ticonderoga pencil because that is the best tool I have on hand right now. So I'm just gonna like go in there. I made a little hole. Feels like surgery. Oh, there it is. And I'm just gonna stick it in there. And then I'm gonna also add some more soil and hopefully it does okay. But if not, it's not the end of the world. I'm just trying to fill out this plant. I need to add a little bit more soil on top anyways. Okay, it's a little bit weird because it has all those aerial roots. And I suppose I could try to wrap it back into the pot. Maybe that's the move. Maybe? Maybe? I think it's okay. And then for the Syndapsis, I don't know. I don't really feel like potting it back in with any other plants that I have. But maybe I'll just like make a new plant. I have a lot of roots, which is nice. Oh, here we go. I was like, which pot am I gonna put this in? I'll just stick it in this pot. This is what the silver sword was in, which is nice. And I'm definitely gonna give this away to a friend. And I'll be like, here you go, baby plant, enjoy. Nice and simple, but very cute. Just a little plant. All right, we're down to my last plant. Oh my gosh, I'm actually really shocked that we managed to like go through all of these plants. So this is a string of turtles. I'm definitely going to keep this in the prop box, and I'm going to use this as a plant from which I will take cuttings whenever I make terrariums, because I really like just adding string of turtles to terrariums. I just feel like it works super well. But I want this, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna like stick a bunch of these into like moss or something. I don't know, I'm just trying to make like a parent plant, if that makes sense, from which like these literally aren't even really rooted in here. Actually, it looks like they're just kind of stuck in soil and never really rooted, but they're still alive. So maybe I'll just do moss. Stick them in there and hope that they root, you know? Man, string of turtles is so delicate. I think that's gonna die. Well, I don't feel like that's all that much better, but at least, I don't know, maybe it'll be fine. I just wanted to get it into a better situation, but that's not that much better. It's not going to be like a pretty plant. It's just a plant that I'll take cuttings from. Oh my gosh. I feel very relieved to have that done. So now it's just a matter of finding homes for a lot of those plants, finding places in my own home for a lot of those plants. But I'm honestly so happy to have all of my propagations pretty much sorted. Man, that feels really good. Thank you so much for joining me. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. All those things are super helpful for my channel. And yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful and beautiful day. Bye-bye.